Hi, this is Chrissy Incognito, and welcome to another episode of my show. Now, you might be wondering why I'm incognito. This is my alter ego that can say things that I cannot otherwise say unless I was incognito. So, thank you for returning. In order to understand more about this episode, view the previous episode. Happy listening.
But whatever he does see in a certain way, I mean, Josh is just as observant as I am.
Right, yeah, of course.
Way, okay? I mean, he might not be as cynical, and obviously he doesn't have the ears, but Josh picks up stuff in a minute.
Yeah, I know. He is observant.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. So he sees him with this attitude, with this and so he was there for 4 days, and then he came back, and then I drove in there, and then he stayed overnight.
Right.
The argument did not happen within the 4 days. The argument took place over that one night.
The first
when
night?
When I was there on a Monday for dinner, you came and then you left quickly. You're like, I gotta go. I got work, and
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, and then
Notice I came, and then she probably got insane, and I was like, I gotta go.
I was staying there that night, and then I waited about a half hour, and then I left. So the fight took place in the morning of the next day.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see that.
And noticed that he was edgy. Now listen, I'm not saying that yes, I do believe that the hormone shot or whatever is causing him to be more irritated. Absolutely.
Yeah,
How
no,
are we
of
going to
course.
manage this? How are we going to be proactive?
No, she wants my dad to admit I am wrong. I don't know what's going on. I need your help. I'm all of this stuff. And basically what they fought about was politics stuff. My dad wanted to talk about it. My nephew didn't. That was the extent of it because he does that with me. And I also know the story. So my sister constantly wants to be, she doesn't want a solution. She's talking about being proactive, but he's already admitting, this is a lot. I'm getting frustrated. That is not enough for my sister. She wants the full blown, for my dad to be like, I don't know. For once in my life, I don't have an answer. I need you to come in because she's all ready to come in. She is all ready to come in and get with a solution. But she's part of the problem because she doesn't really want a solution. She just simply wants to make my dad wrong and humble him. And again, get him back for all the years that they told her, you're wrong, you're a kid, stop doing that.
Honestly, I don't want to...
Not you and I. I'm talking about him.
Well, I guess he would have to realize that there was a problem.
Okay. So that's a problem unto itself.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way things are going to change is if...
It's not even a matter of changing it.
Or whatever.
Getting her in a better... I don't know.
Of course you don't, because you're making all this shit up.
I mean, this is the end of life stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be that he's yelling at her.
He's not yelling at her.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not necessary.
No,
she's
and I
making
know,
all this shit up.
I don't know. When we've been there, we've never seen it.
Well, he's not going to do it in front of us, Chris.
No, I know.
So suddenly, right, she listened in on the conversation. She heard his tone change. She got into a fight. My father got into a fight with my nephew because of politics. Then I'm trying to bring her back to reality and say, we've never seen that. And she's like, well, of course we've never seen it. It doesn't mean it's not true. She's making all this shit up to fit her narrative.
I know. But
You think he's gonna ram out on her like he does when they're alone with me and you and Josh there?
Yeah.
Alone, never.
Yeah, no, yes, I know.
We need to get a dictaphone and hide it in the room.
I don't know. I'm going to have to sleep on all of this. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hit you.
No, that's okay. It's just I don't have any solutions.
There isn't
You
a
have more
solution.
experience with all of this stuff in terms of the geriatrics and the dementia, and I don't even know if there is something that can be done. But damn, like
I know.
a woman is so fragile, and you know what? I have probably forgiven her in a certain way a lot more. I have forgiven her in a bigger capacity than I had him at this point.
Yeah. No.
What have you forgiven your mother about? Providing the best life somebody could have? Basically being unconditional, even though you've been nothing but a mess? You manipulated your mother into getting you a condo because your child couldn't be in an apartment-like setting? I've forgiven her. Okay, let me tell you, I would tell you in a hot second if there was something to forgive. There's nothing to forgive. But she didn't give me what I wanted all of the time. It was a fight to get what I wanted. She held me to standards, so she made me feel wrong. Like, what is there? What is there? But this is the perception of a borderline narcissist.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
She's done. I mean, listen, I was, Paula and I were having a heavy conversation about this. I said, honestly, Paula, I said, there is a part of my mother that died in 2012 when she flipped out about making a mistake regarding this condo. I go, that's where our relationship stopped.
Yeah.
And then Sandy came, and then she fell apart, and then I said, so my mother, technically the relationship that I had with her and the woman I knew, that woman died in 2012.
Yeah.
Okay. So I talked about how my sister manipulated them into the condo, okay? So when they were going through this hard time between them, each of them thought the other changed, okay? My sister, who was a promiscuous, loudmouth, know-it-all, fucking degenerate, okay? And my mom's, who's prissy and expects things to be a certain way and has standards, okay? These two people. Each of them thought they changed. My sister thought somehow my mom became less stiff. And my mom thought my sister became less trash. Okay? Because I had conversations with them during this time, 2012, when everything fell apart. And each of them said the same. I thought they changed. I thought she changed. I thought she changed. And I said, no. I said, neither one of you changed, because I heard both ends of it. I just wasn't a double spy back then telling each of them, because I was trying to keep the peace. But because my sister was getting more of her way, because she was over there with my brother-in-law, who dealt with her, and my parents dealt with her way less. And then when there was the divorce and my sister started to manipulate my parents, the true side I always saw came out. Okay, so all the years in there that when my sister and my mom got along, each of them thought they changed, and I knew they didn't change during that period. But whatever, they're happy as whatever larks. When everything fell apart, neither one of them understood, and I felt bad for them. And I said this to my mom, and I probably said this at some length to my sister. I said, neither one of you have changed. Neither one of you have changed. Why would a stiff ass and a degenerate change. People don't change their stripes. But what happened is that they were no longer, when my sister got married and went over there, my parents saw them not as frequently as when you live in the house. When my sister lived in the house, they did not get along. I remember at one point my mother was so angry because the garbage was just pouring out of my sister's mouth that she was so frustrated. My mother took her keys and wailed them at my sister. That was the only time. But that is the true relationship between them. At some point, when my sister was getting married, my mother thought all of that was behind. Oh, look, she's being a normal person. She's not a lunatic. She's settling down. This is the answer, right? She was still a lunatic. My mother ignored a lot of the stuff that we just all came to just know, you know? So for a big chunk of time, so my sister got married in 95. And then there was the breaking up, divorce, and like 2012. Okay, so for that length of period of time, they lived at a distance, and each of them bent for the other one, meaning like she still had an issue, she still had an issue, but it was a workable situation because you're each have nothing to do with each other at a distance. Okay, again, it was very limited as opposed to living in the same house. So when this all came down, they were still who they were. And now the true selves of each of them came alive. The sides of each of them were always there, but they were dimmed down because they were at a distance. And they could suck it up for the weekend, or they could suck it up for the afternoon and go back to what they were. It wasn't in their face. Each of what they disagree about each other wasn't in their face. And when she got divorced, she needed my parents to be the provider for her. And so part of it, she manipulated them. But part of them, she did show them her finances. This is what I make. This is what I can afford. Blah, 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 blah. But the guilt of what my sister put to them, because they're old school. You don't rent. You don't throw bad money, good money after bad. You own. You don't rent. That's giving somebody else money, right? They wouldn't buy my brother-in-law out. So the only thing was the condo, because in their mind made sense. And so that she knew that was the only thing she could get. So after guilting them, my son can't be raised in an apartment-like setting. My parents were like, well, this is all we have to give. And she bent. And again, I wasn't involved with their financial situation when they talked about it. But I do feel that my sister was transparent in telling them, this is what I make, this is what I can afford. I think at some point they thought she could either take on more or make more or whatnot. But what they didn't know is that when she got into the condo and she was with the thug, she was taking all the money that they were giving her and spending it on him because he didn't have a job. So he had like $6,000 worth of child support, and he had warrants out for his arrest because of that. So I didn't know this. I did not know this until after she and the thug broke up, because while they were together, she never told me this, or I would have told my parents. But again, they know all of this now, and they refuse, they don't do anything about it. So she was using all the money that my parents were giving her to go off to the different agencies and pay his back child support. Okay. He was a piece of shit before she paid. He was a piece of shit during, and he was a piece of shit after she paid. Because my parents kept, my father kept saying, "What is she doing with all the money we're giving?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "She's telling me she has this expense and that expense and the car and the this and the that." So she is like, when I'm talking to her, she's accounting for all of it. It wasn't years later after, the thug walked out of her life that she told me, "Oh, I was using that money to pay off his child support debts." And he had other things and other warrants and other, all this other crap. She's like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Can you believe he was a piece of shit to me? I was paying all of this crap." And it was just a mess. It was just a mess. So, yeah. So each of them thought they changed.
I said, so there's a lot of stuff that I realized and that I've come to having to forgive her and realizing that she was so incapable.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And, again, I don't know whether he saw it, didn't see it, but, if I know that I have somebody that I'm dealing with that's incapable, and I know that they're incapable, aren't I party to that bullshit if I don't stop it, or if I don't try to manage it, or if I don't try to, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Okay. So it stops there. And that's all I have as far as the taping. I might tape things in the future. I hope you can see the Michele videos to what I've tried to set the scene. And I hope as the videos, or whatever the hell this thing is, the audio played, that I was able to fill in some of the missing parts. But that's basically how it is. I mean, honestly, if you look back at everything she had said in the conversation about my dad, she really didn't say anything. She's like, "Oh, his tone changed, and he had a fight with my nephew. I'm sorry, with my son, and he didn't do this and he didn't do that." But there wasn't anything like, there just wasn't anything that she was saying. That's why she kept saying, "Well, this and this, but I don't know." She doesn't know that she is being this insane. But when the conversation started to go to abuse, I was like, because I told my dad a lot of stuff that I knew, whatever I knew at the time. I told my dad, like, she's constantly bitching, she's constantly complaining, she has an issue with you, with this and that. And my dad kept saying, "But what does she have an issue now?" I was like, "You're not getting it. She's insane. She's going to have an issue with everything." I was like, this is the time to make a decision to cut her off. Now, let me just backtrack a minute. So when all this condo stuff came down, and my mom realized at some point she was bamboozled, that she was manipulated, my mom wanted to cut her off, meaning nothing to do with her, not talking to her, not providing her money and whatnot. My dad would not let it. And so as the situation progressed, my mom started to decline, and then it was too late. And then now my dad was dealt to deal with her. And I said, "You should have cut her off." And I don't think he could have, for whatever reason. I said, when mommy wanted to get rid of her, and those are my words, when mommy wanted to get rid of her, that's what you should have done. I kept saying, "Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Now that you see the real her, or can we end this already?" My dad would not do it. And I think a big part, not only my nephew, I don't think even if my nephew was in the picture that my dad would have. I don't think he could have, inside have done that. Thank God me and my mother are the same. We're like, "Yeah, go away. Like, you're a toxic piece of shit. Well, I got nothing left for you." So that was basically that. I hope I was able to piece some of the pictures together, stories together and make it a little bit more understandable of how my sister is. Okay. And see the next video of when I stopped talking to her for about 2 years and now she resurfaced, and my interaction with her then. Happy listening.